We are with Dave Coan here this time back in the Space Vehicle Mock-Up facility. Dave is one of the RATS crew members this year, so he's had probably a lot of interesting adventures over the past 10 or so days.
Has been, yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Sure.
So
sure.
tell us a little, give us an overview of what you as a crew member have been doing.
Well, we've been testing now for 9 days or so, and just doing different evaluations of how we might fly around an asteroid and actually take some geological samples. So we've been trying various things and using various tools and areas of testing to simulate that and just kind of get a feel for how we might do stuff and really evaluate our operations from both a technical point of view, for the engineering of the tools and the vehicles, and also from a geological and kind of science point of view.
So has it felt like you've been exploring an asteroid?
Actually, at times it really has been. When you're in the MMSCV flying around and they project out as sims, you're in a virtual world. And when you're flying that vehicle, that's all you see out the front windows, and it looks like you're actually there.
And that's the rover, basically, that would
Yes.
fly along the surface, the space exploration vehicle.
That's right.
And I think you've spent some nights in that vehicle as well, right?
We did, yeah. I spent 3 full days in there and 2 nights, so that was quite a little adventure. It's about the size of a van on the inside, so it was interesting to be stuck in there and not be able to leave. The only time we were allowed to leave is when we did our spacewalks. So
you ate in there, slept in there, everything.
Slept, did everything we had to do inside there.
What's the point of that? Why have somebody spend the night there?
Well, they're thinking of, so it'd be a long mission to an asteroid. It could be several weeks to even months. So they're looking at going in a large habitat. But then to get down to the asteroid, they've developed this multi-mission space exploration vehicle to actually fly towards the surface. And that way your ride home doesn't get in danger by being too close to the asteroid.
Okay.
So when you fly down, in order to save fuel, they want to stay there for a few days. So they're thinking 3 days to maybe 14 days. So we were doing a 3-day habitability study to see how comfortable it is in staying there for 3 days, and what other stuff you'd need in the vehicle that they haven't thought of yet to make it more comfortable and survivable.
So what's the verdict?
It's not too bad, actually. It looks really small. It looks small from the outside, and even on the inside when you first get in there, it's kind of small, but living in there, it's not too bad. It's kind of like camping. So,
okay.
Just don't get to go outside too much. But.
And so, you also mentioned that you, I guess, participated in spacewalks from the virtual reality lab, and probably some on Argos here behind us, the active response gravity offload system. Did I get that right?
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you learn through that?
So yeah, we would do those 2 types, and we'd use them both differently. We'd go to the virtual reality laboratory and put on some VR goggles, so that made it look like we were looking at the asteroid and really immersed us in it.
And you're basically seeing the same thing they were through the windows of the space exploration vehicle, right?
Right, yeah, so those 2 worlds are tied together, and we can fly our jetpacks around there. So one concept is to have a little individual jetpack and fly around the surface and collect samples that way. So in the VR lab, we could do that kind of thing, and it's really high fidelity visual. So you feel like you're right there. But the only downside is you can't really do anything in the virtual world because it's all computer generated. So the other type of spacewalk we do would be to come over to the Argos system and actually physically pick up some tools and actually use hammers to hammer on a rock and collect a sample, or use some of our other tools to collect some soil samples, or actually evaluate that long boom back there is one thing. Some actual physical spacewalk hardware. So kind of 2 different ways to do it, and give us 2 different evaluations, and kind of put the whole big picture thing together at the end to give an overall evaluation of the condition.
Well, and so you actually may recognize Dave from some other activities that he's been involved in. He's a spacewalk officer from Mission Control, kind of moonlighting here for the RATS mission, I guess.
That's right. Yeah.
So you've now kind of been on both sides of it. You've been the person back at Mission Control and performing spacewalks. Does it give you a different perspective?
Actually, it does. Actually, I've done, like I said, the Mission Control stuff. So I've done the training and sat in Mission Control and watched other individuals go out and do their spacewalks, and then coming here and doing it yourself. Yeah, it's a different perspective, and actually having to be the one physically getting it done. You at times in Mission Control you might get to wonder why things aren't progressing the way you planned it or want it to go, and then you get over here and you're actually physically doing it yourself. You kind of see why things can deviate a little from how you thought it was going to happen.
And can you see, how we would use this information in the future? Why these are good questions to ask now?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Going to an asteroid is going to be a very challenging thing. And we go to space station, we designed it to do spacewalks on. So there are handrails you can hold on to and places you can plug into for stability. An asteroid doesn't have any of that. but then it also doesn't have any gravity, so you can't stand up. So yeah, we definitely need to put a lot of thought into what kind of tools we would use and how we're going to actually do stuff. And this is giving us a lot of good information about the various methods that will and won't work. And I think we've learned some of both of those. Some of the things we tried didn't work so well, and some of the things we tried worked really well. So
cool.
We can go and refine that and do some better testing in the future.
What's been your favorite part?
It's flying the SEV is actually really fun. It's got a really nice control system, and when you're flying it, again, you're looking at that virtual world. You feel like you're there doing it. But actually, I really enjoy Argos too. It's a lot like being almost like Peter Pan. You can fly around here very easily. They'll suspend you from this cable, and just a slight push, and you start floating across the surface. So it's really neat. This really makes it feel like you're in zero gravity. So it's pretty fun.